right, everybody, welcome to the Frivolous Podcast, episode 20, I believe. It should be episode 20. I don't know why it's episode 20. I don't know why. I always second guess myself when I already know it. Frivolous Podcast, episode 20. I'm very excited to be here. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for 20 episodes. That's kind of crazy. I mean, when you think about it, we started this back in April, so that's about, we're almost half. I was to say halfway through, as if there's a time limit on. No, we're almost 6 months in, we've almost been doing this for half of a year, which is pretty cool. So by the end of October, we will have been doing this for half a year, which is kind of crazy to think about. And I'm excited. I will admit, I've admitted this many a times before, but there's times where I really am not looking forward to recording the podcast. And this, I'll be honest, this was one of them. I've had to actually, I really have had to cram this one in. It's been, with the school year starting and I'm back working and all this stuff, like it has been a lot busier than I shouldn't say that I anticipated. It's been as busy as it normally is, but I thought I would have more time to do this and focus on this, and I haven't, and that's, my fault, and I've got to figure out how to do that better. But this week has been just like hectic because I'm very busy this week, which besides just work, yesterday was my anniversary with my lovely fiance. And so we celebrated that. So I wasn't able, usually I record either on Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, but with the football season starting, I don't really want to record Sunday because I like to watch football. And so I usually have to record Monday or Tuesday. And I don't know why I didn't record Monday. I was setting the gifts up and everything. I had to go to the store and get the last minute stuff for it. So that was why. And then yesterday, obviously, we celebrated our anniversary. So I'm literally recording this, and I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to upload it all on the same day. So if you listen to it the day that this comes out, I literally recorded it like 2 hours before. So not that you guys really care, but just thought I'd let you know. And I literally just got off work, so if my voice sounds weird or whatever, sorry. I have to yell at kids all day. That's not true. That's a joke. That's a joke for legal reasons. No, I'm just kidding. That is a joke. I don't yell at kids. I'm not one of those teachers, I promise. Anyways, that's the starts of these episodes are so stupid sometimes. This episode will probably be shorter as well, just because again, I'm filming it and recording it the day that it's supposed to go up. So I was really contemplating just not having an episode this week, but since we already do an every other week gap, I didn't want to have another gap there. So I wanted to get something out for you guys. And even though this isn't as long of an episode, I still wanted to give you something, and it'll also prepare. I'm going to talk about what the next month's going to look like and whatnot too, which I'm really excited about. So anyways, and I also have stuff to talk about. I've been thinking about stuff to talk about, and so I wanted to actually talk about it, and I didn't really want to wait a whole nother week or whatever to do it. So here we are. Really, honestly, I've been thinking a lot about the podcast. I've been thinking a lot about all of the things that I like to do, all of my creative endeavors, which I've mentioned a lot of them on the podcast before. And, I've admitted to being burnt out on this, and I feel like I don't want to say the product quality has gone down, but it feels like it's gone down a little bit. And I'm really working really hard on trying to get guests back on. I'm figuring out what I like to do is I'm not going to just text a friend and be like, hey, would you like to come on the podcast? All right, let's figure out a date. In my brain, I like to try to have it solved, and then we plan it from there, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to figure out what day of the week for me would work best to have a guest come on and for us to record the podcast. So would that be Saturday or Sunday or Monday? You know what I mean? So I'm trying to figure that out right now, and what works best for me and what works best for when my fiance's not here, because obviously I record in a very small and limited space. So I'm working on that. I'm also working on potentially as well as doing in-person interviews and having guests on, also doing virtual, which I've mentioned before as well. I think virtual could open it up and make it so where I could have a lot more people come on. We just go on Discord. I can still face cam on Discord. I know how to do all that. So that's something that I want to do. I really want to do as well. Again, I just need to ask people. I've been really bad at just asking people and then doing that. And I don't know why that is. This is actually a perfect segue into something I want to talk about. It's just anxiety. And I don't know why. Because I want to have some guests that I've already had on come back on. I want to have Eric come back on, for example. And like, I know if I texted Eric, we would work something out, and he'd be on the podcast within the week or so, but like, I, for some reason, have anxiety and it's not just Eric. It's like, I'm using him as an example. It's just like, I have anxiety thinking about texting, somebody, be like, hey, you want to come on my podcast? Because, it does take time out of their day. It does take, and if they're driving to me, it takes however long that it takes to drive to my house, and then they have to drive back, plus the time it takes for them to record it. I mean, that's not a whole day, but that's a good anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, depending how far away you live from me, or they live from me. So that's why it's like, I'm really open to the virtual thing from doing like it through Discord or something, because I don't want to be a burden. And that's such a bad way to think, because I know I'm not being a burden, because they, I'm never like pressuring them to come on, but come on, you have to, like, so I don't know. But my anxiety's been like weird lately. It's been pretty bad. I'm using the word weird, but I just mean it's been bad, and there's not a reason for it. It's actually been really frustrating to me, and it's something once I've been thinking about it, I wanted to talk about it on here, because I feel like I've steered a bit away from the mental health aspect sometimes. It's a lot easier to talk about mental health stuff when you're with somebody. It's a lot harder to just talk about it, to myself or to the camera. And I do think Eric and I did a great job on the episode he was on, the first episode, like talking about that stuff. And it's been a lot harder from there. Anthony, which was the last guest I had on, we had a good talk about it as well. But I need to be better, especially when I'm by myself. I need to be better, and I have ideas for it, which I will talk about later. But yeah, my anxiety's been bad lately. And like, I don't know why, it's just like, I'm going to use today as an example. I have a perfect example for today. Unfortunately, I have a perfect example. As you guys know, I work in a school. And so I wanted to go talk to the principal about something. He talked to me a couple weeks ago about a potential, like, as you guys know, I work at school. I'm not like a full-time teacher or anything, but like he thinks that I could become one. He thinks that I could become a psychology teacher, because that's what I have a degree in, obviously. And so I was like, thinking, I was like, I'm always open to like weighing my options. I'm not really like a person that's just going to shut something down right away without really like actually thinking about it and thinking about the possibilities and, okay, what would it take to do this and whatnot. As you guys know, I've flip-flopped. At one point I wanted sports psychology. I originally wanted counseling, then sports psychology, then forensic psychology. So like, I'm a very open person. There's a lot of things that interest me in some way or another. So, he told me that a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to ask him today, like, hey, can you get me in touch with somebody? Because he said the conference that we work for would potentially pay for some of my schooling if I wanted to become a teacher. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But like, I want to just talk to them and, weigh my options to see about it, but I couldn't like go ask him. And he's not a mean person. Like, he's super nice. He actually has a psychology degree as well, funny enough. But I literally just, for whatever reason, couldn't be like, go up to him and talk to him about it. And there's another thing I wanted to talk to him about as well. I want to talk to him about like, last year I would unofficially, because I don't have my counseling license, unofficially counsel kids at the school. And it wasn't like, they weren't calling me a counselor. I was basically just there to listen, right? If they wanted advice or whatever help, I could offer some advice off things that I know. But I wasn't like, I'm not quote unquote the school counselor. You're not legally allowed to call me that, if that makes any sense at all. But it's just somebody to vent to, basically. And I wanted to do that again this year, and I wanted to ask him about that as well, because we're already like a month into the school year. So it's like, the sooner we started, hopefully the better it would be, or the better it become, and the more people I could help. But the same thing, I just couldn't talk about it, and I couldn't like go up and talk to him about it. So I never did. And then I got home today and I realized that I forgot to do it, and it just makes me so mad, because it's like, why do I have anxiety about bringing that up? Like, it's gonna better my life and my career. If I want to become a teacher, that would be a good stepping stone, right? And if I want to become a counselor, listening to these students' problems is obviously a great stepping stone as well. It's good experience. While I'm not being an official counselor, it's still a good experience to like listen to the problems and see, how I can help in different ways, But I couldn't do it, and it just makes me so mad. And I've just been having anxiety about everything, and it's like, I don't know why. I don't know what's triggering it or what's causing it to be worse lately, but it's just very frustrating, and it's exhausting. I'll be honest. It's just exhausting getting anxious about every little thing and overthinking and overanalyzing every little aspect. I'm going to use video games as an example as well. I know not everybody here plays video games, and I'm not going to go into like too much detail, but for example, I've been playing this video game with my friends the past couple weeks, and in the video game, you can make a character and like you can customize it in your own way and how you want it, basically. And but once you like finalize it, like that's it. You know what I mean? Like you can't change it. It's like once you're done customizing it, that's how it has to be. And no joke, like I had already made one, but I decided to make another one, and it took me. I'm not even joking. Like there was a couple things about it that I kept tweaking, and I was like, I kept overthinking. I'm like, oh, am I really gonna need it to be? Is -1 or +1 that big of a difference? Like, do I really need that? Like, I'm just overthinking all this when it's like it doesn't matter. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it obviously doesn't matter. But it's like it took me like 2 to 3 hours on Sunday to actually like finally commit to it, because I was like overthinking like every little attribute about it and every little thing about it, and it was just like, what is wrong with me? Like I get wanting it to be how you want it to be, but it's like a -1 or a +1 difference in this or that isn't gonna, make or break anything ever. So, well, I shouldn't say ever, but so I was just like, looking back on it, I'm just like, what the heck? Like I didn't even realize how much time I had. I don't want to say wasted, but like I had spent like just thinking about it and tinkering and like messing with it. It just was absolutely insane to me, and I just was like, what is going on? Like, I've never been like that before. I've been anxious before, do not get me wrong. I shouldn't say never been like that before. But, like, I haven't been this anxious in a while, I feel like. And, again, I don't know why. Maybe, like, I don't know. I have a psychology degree. I'm not, like, asking you guys. Like, if anything, I should be able to diagnose myself. But it's very frustrating to not understand why it's happening, to just not be confident in yourself. And it's like it's not like I'm surrounded by people who make me feel like crap. Like, I have the best supporting cast I could possibly ask for, but it's just like, why do I second guess and everything and not have like the confidence that I really feel like I should have in myself? Like this also was, oh my God, I'm trying to think of the transition words, but I can't. I'm lacking this confidence, and I think I'm also like, I don't want to say I'm depressed, because I'm not. Like, I'm anxious, yeah. But I'm not like super happy. Like I'm happy, but like there are moments where it's just like I feel down, and I want to preface with this. It's like there's not a reason for that. I think I have such a great life, and I will admit that to anybody, because it's the truth. My life is fantastic. I am engaged to the girl of my dreams, to the woman that like I want to spend the rest of my life with, and I've never been more confident about anything in my life before. And like we're getting married in 9 months. I had to do the math on it. I know when we're getting married, like almost 9 months to the day. I'm super excited about all that and just our future together. Like, that makes me so happy. I genuinely get happy thinking about like having a house with her, having a family with her, getting animals with her, renovating the house we get with her, like decorating, all that stuff. I get genuinely excited for it. Like, I'm really looking forward to it. I have a good job. It's not like the best job in the world. Obviously, there's days, a lot of days that I get frustrated, and because I have kids that don't listen to me, and it's just like they can go crazy, and I can have kids being disrespectful or rude or hurting each other or whatnot. But it's like I have a good job. It's a good stepping stone that will help me for my next job, for my potential career job, for the job that I could have for 10, 20, 30 years or whatever, and that's awesome. That's great. And I'm making really good connections with the students there, and they're becoming a really important part of my life, and I would hope that I'm becoming an important part of their life. And it's just really cool to see that. And then for my family and friends, I've got great. My family is so supportive of me and anything that I do. My friends are all great. My friends, again, like I've said before, my friends are the reason I have a podcast. They told me to do it. They were the ones like, you got to do it, and I decided to because of them. And so it's like I've got everything. Like, can you name? If you look. Am I missing anything? Like, can you name something that I'm missing that would from my life that would make me not be happy? Like, I can't think of it. Like, I have a roof over my head. My living situation is great. It's not like I'm stressing for money, and that's not like me bragging or flexing. I'm not rich by any means. I'm saving up for a house, but like, I don't have to worry about things like that. But it's like, why am I so anxious, and why am I not just constantly happy? And again, like I said, I am pretty happy. Like, and there's no reason that I'm not. There's no reason to like not be like completely happy. Like, and that's what's frustrating. And I really think, honestly, it's the anxiety. I don't think I have anxiety and depression. I think I have anxiety, and it causes me to just doubt myself, and it gives me almost. It's like having an anxiety, and then like a subsidiary of it is just like there's like a little thing next to it that's just like in parentheses. It's like a side effect of my anxiety is just depression. Like, but it's just like a small side effect. It's not like it's super like affecting me. And it's just, like I said, it's just very frustrating. It's exhausting to be it's exhausting trying to figure out what is like why you're feeling the way that you feel, especially when in reality you don't have a reason to feel that way. And I want to preface with this as well: you do not need a reason to feel anxious or depressed. Like, you could have a perfect life. We've seen it before, unfortunately, with celebrities that have these really great lives, well, we think are really great lives, and they end up, having severe depression, and unfortunately some of them, end up killing themselves and passing on. So it's like, it's not, you can have a perfect life, quote unquote, but you can still be really depressed. It's just some people's brains and bodies aren't, I don't want to say wired the right way, but they don't, everybody's body's different, and they react to things differently. So it's frustrating. Like, it's like you're doing mental gymnastics with yourself, and it's very exhausting. I'm tired a lot, and I think the reason I'm tired is because I'm constantly trying to figure out what's like why I'm so anxious. So it's just annoying. And like I said, I'm not depressed. Like, I don't, like, my life is very good, and I am so thankful for the life that I have, and I love it. I really do. I truly love my life, and I love every aspect of it, and I'm very grateful that I live the life that I live, and I know that there's a lot of people that would, like to live the life that I live. So it's not, this isn't me being like, oh, woe is me, my life is the worst. It's not that. It's just me being like, I'm so anxious that it like causes me to doubt myself, which is causing me to just, feel down, which I shouldn't be, So it's just, this anxiety's just been kicking my butt. And I just feel like if I could, I don't want to say like conquer it, because I don't know if it'll ever fully go away, but if I can just get past it and make it not as severe, then it's like, I think I'd be 100% happy. I just think this anxiety is just making me second guess every little thing that I'm doing. And it's exhausting me, and it's making me not, I'm not thinking straight because of it. So that was a little rant, but I just want to make sure I'm okay. Like, I don't want people to think like there's something seriously wrong with me. I don't want people to think I'm severely depressed or anything. I'm just having anxiety issues. That's really all it is at the end of the day. And I'll be okay. I mean, used to having incredible anxiety as well, like back in the day, back like, when I was 16 or 17 years old or whatever. So it's okay. I'll get through it, and I'll be fine. I just need to get through it. And I need to do things like this. This helps me a lot, really. When people ask me about the podcast, sometimes I like to joke and tell them that it's kind of like my audio journal. It's like my audio diary, because I'm able to just say my thoughts and what I'm thinking and feeling, and I can just say it. And a lot of people like to do that in writing with their journal or diary or whatnot. And that's what this helps me really do, and it's very nice. And that's why I'm appreciative that I'm able to do this. Whether or not I get 10 listeners or 5 or 3 or 1,000, it doesn't matter. It's just nice to be able to express myself in some way or another. And not part of me, but I do hope that in one way or another, at some point in time through these 20 episodes so far, somebody's listened or been listening and was like, oh, what he said makes sense, or makes me feel better about this problem that I have, or it's nice to know that I'm not alone about this problem or this issue. And that's kind of the big goal about this podcast, is to there's such a stigma around mental health, and it has gotten a lot better. Thankfully, it's taken a lot of work, but it's getting a lot better. You're even seeing it get better in sports, which is, sports like the NFL and NBA, which are obviously male sports, where it's like, oh, there's a big, strong, tough athletes that get paid millions. Like, they shouldn't be sad. But you're seeing like them include mental health things in like contracts, and mental health things in like for their insurance and stuff like that. And it's really great to see these steps towards making it more normalized and being talked about. And I really love when I see an athlete. I'm just using athletes as an example. Obviously, there's other like actors and other celebrities that are open about it as well. But there's all these like athletes, and you think that, when you think of like a quarterback in the NFL, you think of a big macho guy. You think of like the guy. He's the leader of the team, right? And if you have the quarterback of a team, coming forward and talking about mental health and their struggles, it's really cool to see, and I think it's eye opening to some adult fans, but it's also definitely eye opening to kids. If you're a 12-year-old and you're just sad and you don't know why, you see your hero, one of your heroes, that somebody that you look up to, say, hey, it's okay to feel that way. I feel that way too sometimes, and I felt that way before. That changes your perspective on a lot of things. And I want to give a shout out to Dak Prescott. He's the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. He I think it was 2 years ago, he came out and talked about his struggles with mental health. And at the time, for athletes, it wasn't as, I don't want to say accepted, but it wasn't talked about as much. And, I will say, when it comes to sports, they seem to be a bit behind when it comes to like issues like that. It's like the world, the society, we've been adapting to it for a few years now. I'd say for about maybe like 5 or 6 years, give or take. But like the NFL and NBA and all that, it's like it's only been a couple. But like he came out and said stuff when nobody really was, and it changed a lot. You know, my respect for him. You know, I gained so much respect for him for doing that. And like I said, he's not only is he a quarterback, he's starting quarterback for a football team. He's starting quarterback for one of the most well-known football teams in the world, the Dallas Cowboys. You know, and so there's a lot of media attention on that. So I thought that was really cool. And so I just want to give a shout out to him for doing that. And I'm always for the stigma of mental health being broken, because it's we get so scared to talk about it. You know, we get so scared to talk about it. And it is hard to talk about. I mean, I haven't talked about it a lot on here as much as I want to, because it's hard to talk about. Opening up to just now was hard to talk about, because I don't want, and I think a lot of people feel this way. I'm just generalizing, of course. But like, I do not want, you know, people, I don't want to get texts being like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like, I'm so worried about you. Because, and don't get me wrong, I like when people care about me and people worry about, well, I don't like when people worry about me, but it's nice to know that people like want you to be okay. But I do not want people like thinking that I'm just in such a dark, negative place that like, you know, things are really bad when they're not, you know. And I'm not trying to downplay how like anxiety is, but I'm also not trying to be like, hey, you know, I'm on the verge. You know what I mean? Like and I think that's the biggest thing is I don't want any like, I don't want pity. That's what it is. I don't want pity from people just because I'm struggling with anxiety. I don't want to be like, oh, you know, like, I'm so sorry. Like, and I appreciate anybody who does feel empathetic towards, you know, that, but I just want to talk about it. You know, I know it's going to get better. I'm very confident that it's going to get better, because it does get better. It does get better. And there's ways that it can get better that you can do yourself. There's ways that it can get better through therapy or whatnot. You know, like I said, this has always been very therapeutic to me. So this helps, you know, sometimes just listening to music really helps me feel better and calm down. Sometimes just taking a deep breath helps me calm down. Sometimes just thinking of things will help me calm down, or, you know, playing games or writing or whatever it is. There's a lot of things that help me with my anxiety, and I've been working on it, and I've been focusing on that. And so it's like, once you hone in on the problem, which for me is anxiety, for you might be depression or something else, you can then think of ways to counteract that. It's like, all right, if I'm getting anxious or whatever, what can I do in that moment to make it better, or to make it stop, or whatever, to counteract it, or to counterbalance it. You know, if I'm at the grocery store and I start getting an anxiety attack, or just very anxious, like, what can I do at that moment to help me feel better? I obviously can't write. I can't do the podcast. I can't, you know, play video games. So what can I do? And I will tell you guys this. This is a little secret. It's not really a secret. It's just what works for me, and what works for me may not work for you. But something that I used to do when I would get overwhelmed, when I used to work at a pizza place. I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but it's not really embarrassing. But like, I used to get overwhelmed sometimes. Sometimes you get super busy, and it just seems like the night's never going to end, right? You're like, man, we're going to be here forever. Like, I'm closing. I'm not going to get out of here till way later than I'm supposed to. So you start stressing, right? Something that's always helped me calm down and like not stress out anymore is I'll take a deep breath, and I'll tell myself, you know, in my head, I'll be like, hey, you know, no matter what happens, you're going to be at home tonight, laying in your bed. It sounds weird, right? But think about it. Like, if obviously if you're going home after work or whatever you're doing, but like that's something that's always helped me out. Like, if I was having a stressful day at work, or like if things were getting crazy, or like whatever, I'm like, no matter what happens, I'm going to be at home at some point tonight. I'm going to be laying in bed, ready to fall asleep. And that comforted me. That made me feel calm. Like, all right, you know, no matter what happens in between now and then, I will get to that point, you know? And that's what helped me feel better. You know, it's like, there's going to be who knows what's going to happen in between. We cannot control that, right? I can't control what happens between me going to bed and right now at work where it's stressful. But all I know is that at some point I'm going to be laying in my bed, like relaxed, calmed down, and just ready to go to sleep. And that's something that's helped me so much. So I maybe do that for yourself. If you find yourself being anxious about a lot of things, think about something that you can control. You can control laying down and being in bed and relaxing, right? You can't obviously control if you have a job, like people being mean to you, or being busy, or things just not going your way, right? You can't always control those things, but you can control like getting home, relaxing, eating, or whatever you want to do. You can control that. So that's something that I recommend. Again, it doesn't have to be like laying in bed. That was just my example, because obviously just laying in bed and sleeping is relaxing, and it makes me feel better. So just thought I'd give you guys that. That's how I've always, not how I've always, but that's always helped me with my anxiety. And there's other things as well. Like, I like to just like, I don't like to do this. Sorry. I've heard that people like to, you know, look around and see, you know, they like to like see things that they can hear, count things that they can touch or feel, or touch and feel are the same thing. Touch, hear, like, oh my gosh, I already said hear, like, see, etc. Use your senses, because sometimes just like doing that can help you calm down and think about other things. Because obviously, I think the biggest thing with anxiety for most people would be just the lack of control. You can't control some things that happen, and so it's like, all right, you just start worrying and feeling like crap. So, anyways, I don't want to feel like that's a tangent, but I'm doing okay. I'm excited to like feel better, and I'm actually really excited for the month of October, you guys. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about the month of October, which is only 3 days away. So I'm feeling good. This week's been better with my anxiety too, by the way. It's like slowly improving, and I think October is going to help improve it. I don't know why October is going to help improve it, but I just think once you get more in the swing of things, once I get more in the swing of work and just life in general, it's just like, all right, it's not as bad as like it is. So I'm going to work on being more confident in myself and just not being, not overanalyzing everything. That's the biggest thing. I can't be overanalyzing every question or everything that I'm going to say and be like, oh, they're going to think about that question for the next like 25 minutes. Like, no, probably not. They're just going to forget about that interaction even happened that day. So we're not as important as we think we are when we have anxiety. When you have anxiety, you think you're so important. Everybody's really hyper fixated on you, when in reality, they're not. Whether you're out in Target and a random person sees what you're wearing, they're not going to care. Or if you're having a conversation with somebody like your boss, for me, for example, yeah, like he'll think about the conversation at the time, but like unless it needs further thought for something, they're not going to think about it much further than that. So it's like, and you know what I mean? It's like, as long as it's not a stupid question, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say it like that. But like whatever, you guys get what I'm trying to say. Like, especially in my example, when it has to do with my future career and future life and whatnot. Anyways, I'm excited for the month of October because, as you guys know, I love horror. And so month of October is going to be really, really fun. This is kind of like my little announcements part. What I'm going to do for the month of October is I'm going to do, and I'm going to talk about, I'll talk about it a little bit on the podcast, probably not, but starting Saturday, because Saturday is October 1st. Yeah, I had to think about that for a second. Saturday is October 1st. I'm going to be watching a horror movie every single day for the month of October. So I'm going to be watching 31 horror movies that I have never seen before. So it's just ones that I haven't seen. Obviously, other people have seen it. It could be new ones, it could be old ones, it could be classics, it could be like really well-known ones, it could be lesser known ones, who knows. It's just going to be whatever I find, whatever interests me, whatever intrigues me. I'm going to try to watch as many that actually intrigue me and that I actually want to watch. I do have a list of movies that I've talked about on my phone, so like I'm probably going to watch a bunch of those if I can. But I'm really excited about it. My plan is, this is kind of a shameless plug, but I'm gonna start posting on TikTok every day after I watch the movie. I'm gonna give like my review for it, do like a little series on there. Like, I don't expect it to be like some big thing that thousands of people watch, but it's just something for me to do. And then if some people who like horror, I know for me, a lot of horror movies that I've actually watched like in the summer when I've watched a bunch of horror movies, I watch because I found through TikTokers, like horror movie TikTokers who review them and talk about them. So that's what I plan on doing just for the month of October. I don't plan on like that being my channel or whatnot, but yeah, I'm really excited about that. It's gonna be hard. I do think it's gonna be hard to squeeze in, a movie every day, but I'm gonna do my absolute best. So, and like some days I might have to watch 2 just to make up for another day or whatnot, which is fine. But I'm super excited about that. I probably won't talk about those movies very much on the podcast unless one's like really good or really bad. Just because it'll be on the TikTok, my review for it, so I won't really feel the need to. I'm gonna be doing an episode on Halloween, or it'll come out on Halloween. It'll probably be filmed before Halloween, but it'll come out on Halloween, so I'm excited about that as well. Just because I want to do a Halloween special, so that Halloween episode will usurp the episode that was supposed to come out that week. So I'll make it make sense. Don't worry. So like there's gonna be an episode coming out today. Then there's an episode coming out the 12th of October. That's the next time that I'll be. That's 2 weeks from now. And then there's an episode that'll come out the 26th of October. And I'll probably not have an episode the 26th, and I'll just make it the Halloween one, or I'll do both depending on how much time I have. I'll let you know when we get closer to it. I'll let you know next episode actually, because the Halloween actually falls on the break week, so that's kind of good, kind of bad at the same time, but it's all good. But there will be a Halloween episode where I'm going to talk about horror movies. I'll probably talk about true crime stuff, maybe. I don't know if I'll talk about true crime stuff, but definitely going to talk about horror movies because that's stuff that I know well and I love. So yeah, I'm excited about it. I'll have some guests on. I'll have at least 1 or 2 guests on that next month, hopefully. And yeah, I might talk during that. I just realized my hands were probably making a sound that you guys heard. Sorry, but during the month of October, I also might, like, each episode do, like, I might look over a true crime case, not like try to solve it myself or anything, but just like talk about it a little bit. Not like super well known ones. Like, I'm not gonna talk about like Dahmer or, you know, Zodiac or something like that, but like lesser known stories like that, just to kind of talk about them and whatnot. I think that could be interesting as well. And then that's really all I have to announce to you guys. I just thought you guys should know I'm very excited for the month of October, so I'm gonna do my best to make it really good because like I said, I love all things horror. Like, this time of year is really, really like fun for me, and I want it to be fun for you guys too. So I want you guys to feel how I feel. So I'm gonna do my best to like show that through the podcast and my TikToks and whatnot. So if you don't already follow the TikTok, it'll be linked down below. Whether you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, it'll be down below. So yeah, I don't even know how long I've been going for, but it doesn't matter. Like, I feel like I've actually gone longer than I anticipated, which is nice. I will say there's not gonna be a ranked up today. Sorry to say that there's no ranked up today. I kind of wanted this to be a bit more of a serious episode so I could talk more about mental health stuff. And like I said, I also had to squeeze it in. So there is another announcement I have to make. It's not really, it's definitely, I should have talked about it when I was talking about the mental health stuff. But something in my life happened, and I'm very, well, not something, sorry, no. That sounds really bad. That's like, sounds like a bad announcement or something. Nothing happened in my life, sorry. But I had an epiphany, I guess you could say. I'm starting to figure something. I started to figure something out that really I was struggling with, and I've talked about it on the podcast. So I'm very excited to talk about not the conclusion of it, but close to a conclusion. So as you guys know, and as I mentioned earlier in this episode, I've been really like back and forth on what I want to do with my life. Right? I've talked about sports psychology. I've talked about forensic psychology. I've talked about counseling, this and that, yada yada. And I really had an epiphany about a week or so ago about what I want to do. I've had this weird craving to go back to school, so I'm trying to, like, you know, I want to start by the end of the year to get my master's. I'm just like, you know, what do I want to do? You know, what is it going to be? And I had this epiphany, and I've said that like 7 times already. I should just say it. I want to, one of two things. So I'm not fully decided yet, but that's just because I need to talk to people, to, like, you know, what are they called? Guidance counselors, whatever they're called. The academic advisors, that's what they're called. Advisors about, like, certain things about this stuff, so I can have all my questions answered. But it's nice to know, like, one of two things. So I'm either going to go back to school to become a teacher and teach psychology, probably, like, at high school level. Obviously, I don't think elementary takes psychology. And I'm pretty sure I'd have to get a doctorate to teach at like a college. Or I'm going to go to school, back to school to become a school counselor. Not a therapist or not like a mental health specialist or anything like that, but like a school counselor. And it's funny because the school counseling part was what I originally had planned. But then, like, for some reason, I just was like, you know, it's going to be too depressing because I'm going to hear about everybody's worst days and I just don't know if I can do it, stuff like that. But I've really just, my mind's kind of changed on that, you know, and I'm not leaning towards one way or the other. Like I said, I want to, like, do my research on, like, the pros and cons of both and then decide from there. I think either way it's good. And I think depending on the master's degree I get, I could potentially do both if I wanted to. But I just, you know, going back and working at the school, there's been some kids that have issues, and I'm not going to talk about the issues on here, obviously, because it's private and personal. Even if I don't name names, it's not cool to say that. But there are kids that have issues, you know, things, you know, mental health issues, depression, anxiety, whatever, or eating disorders and stuff like that. And it's just like seeing them struggle with that type of stuff. All I can think about is just like, I want to help. You know, whenever I hear about it or something like that, it's like I just want to help and do anything I can to make, you know, them feel better, and to, like, I don't want to say cure them, but, like, you know, just have them, help them find ways that they can deal with it and, like, become healthier, you know, in whatever way it is, and deal with their anxieties or whatever, you know, whatever it is. And, you know, And so that was really cool. So like it's funny because like I said, I started off with that. So like to have that back as like one of my main options is just really ironic. But I think sometimes you stray so far off the path that you end up accidentally stumbling and rediscovering the path again. You know, like I had to kind of do this little weird circle where I was kind of going or beating around the bush and just going around what I actually was, I don't want to say meant to do, but what I actually wanted to do, which was the same thing all along. So in either way, I'm working with kids and I'm helping them out, and, you know, I'm helping, you know, not show them, but like I'm helping them with life, you know, even if I just teach psychology, I instill passion into a couple students and they want to become counselors or therapists or whatnot, or help people. You know what I mean? All it takes is that, you know, I had a couple kids last year, or at least one kid last year. She was an 8th grader and she told me she wanted, like, after like talking to me and like all that, she wanted to become a therapist or like a counselor when she grew up. And I was like super flattered. I thought that was awesome. She thought psychology was cool, and she thought just like talking to me and learning about it and stuff like that, and with like me listening to her problems, like she wanted to do that. And like that's like one of the highest compliments you can give me or give anybody. Well, not anybody, I guess, but for me, that's a high compliment for me when you say, oh, because of you, I want to go into this field. Like that's really cool to me, especially a field like this where it's like, if people get inspired to go into the psychology field or counseling or whatever, like they're going to be helping others in some way or some capacity. And that's just really cool to me. So it's awesome to like know that now. It's not awesome how much money the schooling's going to cost, but it's awesome to know, have an idea of what I want to do. And I'm very excited about it. And I'll let you guys know when I officially decide and all that. But it's really cool. You know, I've said this before, but it's just really weird to care about, you know, people that I don't, you know, I know these kids, yeah, but it's like I see them fight like just during school. That's it. You know, it's like not like I hang out with any of them after school or like, you know, after school activities or anything like that. It's just like it's really weird that like how like I would do. There's a lot like most of those kids I would do like anything for. Like if they called me like they don't have my number, but like if they like called me at like 3 a.m. because they were just like really sad and they didn't know if they could make it till they can make it through the day, like I would answer. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of them that I would do like anything for as if they were my kid or as if they were like my little sister or something like that. And that's just something I don't know. I would have never like thought of. Like I would have never thought that I would view, you know, these kids as a little sister, a little brother, or like my son or my daughter, you know. It's cool, man. It's really cool like the impact people can have when they're not my family, but they're like my family, you know. They're my school fam. And you know, I walk into the cafeteria every day and I get bombarded with hugs from the little kids, and it's just like I'm just a regular dude. Like I'm just a dude, but like it's cool that they enjoy seeing me and enjoy like learning with me and playing games and all that with me. So I'm very fortunate. It's very cool, and it's cool to know what you want to do. You would think my anxieties would be lessened because I have more of a grip of what I want to do now, but there's still a lot of question marks with it, which honestly, maybe deep down, that's the reason I'm feeling anxious. Who knows? But I don't know. It's awesome. I'm happy to be back wanting to do counseling, and you know, I'm happy that I want to help people again. I mean, I've always wanted to help people. I don't want it to sound like I ever wanted to stop, but it's cool to just know that, you know, sometimes I think I just needed to be pushed back into the direction that I was meant to be pushed back in. When some of the kids did it, they pushed me back because they just started talking to me about stuff. So that's that. All right. I think we've been going pretty good, honestly. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a while. This has been one take too. This is gonna make editing so easy for me. So shout out to myself. Not that you guys care about that. So yeah, I'm gonna end it there. Again, sorry there's no rank up. Again, I just kind of wanted to ramble today, make it a bit shorter of an episode, but I appreciate you all for tuning in and listening. Oh, actually, there is one more thing. One more thing. I would really like to start doing with this podcast. I don't know if it'll actually happen, but it's going to be something that I'm going to put out there, try to manifest it, and hopefully you guys, I mean, it really depends on you guys. Something I do want to start doing on this podcast is I would really love to have a segment where I answer people's questions or, you know, comments or concerns or just life issues or whatever, and I try to give them advice. You know, or I provide my advice and psychological answers and whatnot. And obviously, like, I'm not saying that my answers would be the best or like that you'd have to follow them and or you'd be screwed or whatnot, because I'm obviously not like an official counselor or anything like that. But I would really love to start doing that, because that's something, I'm sure a lot of people have questions about a lot of things. So if you know me personally and you have something that you're concerned about, or if you've just been feeling anxious lately and you don't know why, like, it doesn't have to be anything insane like, oh, I've been feeling depressed because of this. You could just be like, I've been feeling really depressed lately and I don't know why, what should I do? Or I've been feeling really anxious lately and I don't know why, what should I do? Stuff like that. And I'll answer those types of questions on the podcast, and I'll keep it anonymous. But if you know me and you have something you want to talk about or question or concern or just whatever, you should please message me. If you listen to the podcast, please message me. If you know me personally, you can message me on social media, or just if you have my number, you can text me or whatever, and say like, hey, I've been struggling with this. Could you please like talk about it on the podcast, so then I can, just for advice or whatnot. And again, like I said, I would keep it 100% anonymous, so that nobody knows it's you. Like I wouldn't put your name or anything like that. I would love to like help people out in that way. And for all you know, that problem you're having that I'm answering or trying to help with, somebody else could be having that problem as well that listens to the podcast, and I could just help somebody else as well because of that, because of you asking. So please, if you know me, please message me and do that. I would love to do that and help out. And I would actually give these questions thought. I wouldn't just be like answer it on the go. I would think about it and try to provide some like reasoning and stuff like that. So I wouldn't just like come up with it on the fly. I would really put some thought into it. So like I said, please message me if you know me. And if you don't know me, you can always comment on, the YouTube or whatnot. But I understand that that's a little harder because there's no anonymity for the most part, unless your YouTube just has nothing to do with who you are. So like, I understand that that's hard as well. You could always just message me on TikTok or something like that as well. Or you might be able to, can you message on YouTube anymore? I don't think you can. You used to be able to, like way back in the day. That shows how old I am. So yeah, I would love to start doing that as a segment on here. So like I said, please feel free to reach out to me or comment on TikTok or YouTube or whatever if you want, and I will answer the questions. I would really, really, really like that. So, yeah, that's the last announcement that I had to make. Actually, there's one more, but I can say it at the end. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. It's almost 6 months strong. It's been very fun. This was a really fun I don't want to say fun episode. It was a great episode for me. It was good to get a lot of stuff off my chest and talk about it. I'm doing okay. I'm excited to be less anxious in a few weeks. I'm a guest, and I'm going to be less anxious in a few weeks. I'm speaking it into existence, right? I hope you guys are doing good. I hope your depressions, anxieties, whatever, I hope they're getting better. Because obviously this is a time of year where they can get worse because of the weather changing and whatnot. So I hope they're getting better, and I hope you're finding creative outlets for you to deal with those negative emotions and feelings once you get them. Yeah, thank you guys so much again for tuning in. Last quick thing, my fiance, she's not, I don't know if she's gonna be happy with me saying this. My fiance has a YouTube channel as well. She's not making me say this, by the way. This is 100% me just saying it. She has a YouTube channel. I'm gonna link it below. Whether you're listening or watching it, it'll be below. Please go subscribe to her. She just hit 100 subscribers like a couple days ago, and it's been growing pretty rapidly. Like, she had 50 subscribers like not even a week or two ago. So she's been getting a bunch of subscribers. So please go subscribe to her. She does art. She does art videos. She works really hard on them. She edits them herself. She records them herself. She obviously does the art herself. She does everything herself. So just please, if you guys are really interested in that stuff, go subscribe. Even if you're not, you can go subscribe. You don't have to watch the videos, but you should, because they're good. But I'm also really biased. So, and she has a gun to my head right now. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. Anyways, you guys should go check it out. Like I said, I'll link it below. It's called Sculptasia. I'm gonna link it below. I'm not gonna spell it for you guys. You guys can just click the link if you want to go check it out. So please go check it out, because she's doing really good stuff. And again, she's not making me say it, but I'm trying to get her like really famous on YouTube, so then I don't have to work anymore. I can just kind of be like the housemaid or whatever. I'm just kidding. She listens to this, so I'm just kidding. Anyways, thank you guys so much again for tuning in. I've said that 17 times now. I'm wishing you guys good mental health going forward. I hope you guys have a good couple weeks ahead of you. Try to stay safe during spoopy season, because spoopy season's about to start. So stay safe, everybody. I'll see you when I see you. Peace.